Welcome back. And in our business news, residential plot prices on the Palm Jumeirah have risen by up to 30% this past year, highlighting renewed investor confidence, according to experts. According to a local paper, the Palm's property developer Nikhil revealed that demand for H1 this year has been healthy, which looks to continue into the rest of the year. It added that it recently sold just over 93,000 square metres of plot for 400 million dirhams to a local investor. And in April, they sold a 5,574 square metre plot on the Palm opposite the Atlantis for 87 million dirhams. Nikhil announced in July that profit for H1 had risen 36% to 767 million dirhams from 562 million dirhams for the same period in 2011. Dubai is looking to spend on a number of overseas sources of energy assets in order to cut its gas bill. According to a local paper, the chief executive of the Dubai Supreme Council of Energy, Najib Zafrani, was quoted as saying that they are looking at how they can secure the supply in the long run through different sources and options. He added that if you have assets, you reduce your exposure to the markets. He added that the decision from options in and around the UAE will take place by the end of the year. The Daily stated that power generation in the Emirate is based around natural gas, with around 99% of all electricity produced by power plants fueled by liquefied natural gas, which are bought at fluctuating prices. The Department of Economic Development has witnessed a 17% rise in the issuance of trade licenses for the second quarter of the year. The total number of trade licenses issued reached 4,499 for Q2, up from 3,859 for the same period last year. The tourism sector accounted for the largest rise of 51%, followed by professional licenses by 19%, and then by commercial licenses by 16% for the period. At the same time, commercial licenses accounted for 73% of the total licenses issued, followed by professional at 25%. The remaining 2% was equally split between the industrial and tourism sectors. Amended licenses also increased 11% for Q2. And Dana Gas has reported a net profit of 387 million dirhams, an increase of 79% as compared to 216 million dirhams in H1 last year. So with that, let's now take a look at the stock indices across the GCC. And looking to other business news, the euro snapped a two-week gain after closing last week's session, as deteriorating global growth conditions continue to weigh heavily on risk appetite. Data from the end of the week showed a hat-trick of sluggish figures from China. Meanwhile, concerns that the eurozone's ongoing liquidity issues will continue to weigh heavily on flagging growth prospects are already showing their impact on emerging markets. So to find out more about this, we earlier spoke with Gaurav Kashyap, the head of the DGCX desk at Alpari Middle East.
It's going to continue to be about the global growth story in trading this week. This will follow China's release of their figures last week, which shows that they're going through a bit of a slowdown. To kick off Monday's session, we did have Japan as well as Greece announcing their Q2 GDP readings. Unfortunately, Japan showed a slight slowdown to growth of 0.3% over the second quarter, which is below the previous reading of 1.3%. Greece also announced Q2 reading GDP of minus 6.2%. Now, although this is a deep contraction, it was slightly better than what analysts were expecting for a reading of minus 7%. Coming out on Tuesday's session also, we will be expecting the French, German, as well as the Eurozone overall GDP reading. All are expected to show contractions, with only Germany expected to show a slight increase in Q2 GDP. This will also be combined with Eurozone industrial production figures, which are expected to be lower. So what we're trying to say is that this global growth story is going to continue into trading this week, and this will probably weigh down investor sentiment if the figures do come as expected or slightly worse than expected. On Wednesday also we have the Bank of England meeting minutes, which should show some kind of insight into what the bank members over in England were anticipating. Remember, Mervyn King last week did say that further rate cuts were proving to be counterproductive, so we will see what their views are with regards to asset purchases for the UK economy. And overall also from the US we have retail sales as well as industrial production, so it's all about the global growth story this week.